What's up guys, I'm Automotive Anonymous, and what I do are car reviews, 0 to 60s with the GPS and other cool stuff. So if you like the content, please consider liking, commenting, and subscribing for more and to help the channel grow. Otherwise, we're gonna get right into our review today. It's a 2023 Subaru Forester Sport, generously borrowed by Twin Falls Subaru in Southern Idaho. It's below MSRP, so I'll link it below. And let's get to our walk around, our specs, our initial driving impressions, our 0 to 60, and then our final thoughts to see if it's worth your time and money. A few things that differentiate the Sport from the other Foresters is it's the third of the 6 trim levels, just knocking out the premium by a little bit. The base model would start at around $26,000, however, a Sport starts at about $31,000. This one has a couple goodies with it. A few things that are standard on the Sport are those 18-inch black wheels, the exterior accents, the dual mode X mode, blind spot detection, rear traffic alert, and then it has a more advanced SI mode with the transmission characteristics. Otherwise, these are pretty cool. This one starts at about $35,000 the way it sits. We're in the 5th generation of the Forester that started in 2019. And Subaru sells about 154 to 180,000 of these every single year in the United States. It's got the 2.5 Boxer, which is the sole powertrain of the Forester. I'll show you that in just a minute. They're about 6 feet wide, 5.5 feet tall, 15 feet long. They weigh 3,500 pounds, and they have 8.7 inches of ground clearance. The fuel door is right there on the passenger side. It's a 16.6 gallon tank, meaning at 33 highway, 26 city, it could get about 550 highway on a tank if you're driving conservatively. It has a 370 final drive ratio, so even though it's the Sport, it's more of the street looking version, the cleaner version, and that white crystal pearl. It does pretty well off-roading, just as all the other ones do. It is a Falcon 225/55/18. The Sport gets an extra inch of rim, can't forget that. And then just a little bit of cladding above the wheel well arches and underneath. But let's get into the vehicle and out of the wind. In the door panel, you're gonna notice red stitching, soft touch, 11-finger grab handle, and a slightly different cloth on the door card with the Sport. Hey, you're not gonna forget what you're driving. It does have Harman Kardon speakers that sound really good if you can swing the package. That also includes the reverse automatic braking and the 8-inch screen. I say go for it. If you can't, you'll be okay. You have probably about a 20-ounce bottle holder right there, and then you can fit quite a bit of snacks on the side. Subaru door sill plate, it's the small size one. We're never gonna let Subaru live that down. It is the baby size. We have Sport on the floor mat, rubberized pedals, hood release, fuses. These are the options the way it's spec'd. Trip reset, ventilation, power seats with red stitching that follows, as well as that cloth pattern, taking our visual field up to the beautiful moonroof at the top. Let's fire up this Forester. You can see Sport just above the 1,000 R per minute for the RPM. You got red stitching on the wheel, red accents below. Horn sounds pretty adequate. You have paddles right there that go through the center display. You have info right there to go through the upper screen if you guys can see that. It gives you some good options. And then we have leather wrap, we have paddles back here. I'm going to show you the reverse camera with lines that do follow the direction of things are going. And if we bring it all the way down to drive, slap it over to manual, we can play auto simulated gears with those paddles, but I'm not sure that you're going to need to. You do have Sport Sharp mode there. If you want to have a little bit more passing power, it's going to almost like downshift it to give you a higher RPM, make more power, or intelligent mode for MPG. Otherwise, cruise control settings here, volume and audio controls over here. I do like that Subaru has kept the CD player on the Forester and physical HVAC buttons. Those are very much appreciated in a world where those are quickly disappearing. You have your aux, 2 USBs, and a 12-volt with a rubber-lined pocket for your phone, for some snacks, pack of gum, whatever you want to have down there. kind of like a piano black around the shifter and on top of the shifter. Dual mode, X mode, electronic parking brake, auto vehicle hold, heated seats. That would be the camera button if this was the Wilderness. You have two good sized bottle holders. They are low enough that I don't think you're going to be knocking into them when your arm's on the armrest. And then a CD holder or a snack holder. Could probably fit 2 Pop-Tarts wide in there. 12 volt in here. It is fairly deep, about half a forearm depth, but it's not wide. It's not that long either. About the size of a CD if you were to put a CD flat in there. Up top we got some fancy options with the power rear view mirror, home link, all that. We have the sunglass holder up here and the buttons for that beautiful sliding power moonroof. Very cool. But let's turn it off with the push button start stop feature and hop in the back. Door panel looks very good and basically identical in design to the front. We do have another baby size Subaru right here with a little bit of grip so you can step on there when you're getting up to those roof rails. Stitching, red, part of their deal with Michaels or Hobby Lobby. I can't remember who they're in partnership with, but it follows to the back seat. It is a 60-40 split, very light seats, easy to drop. Sitting behind herself at 5'11". I have quite a bit of room. That's probably like 3 inches, and I have the double map pocket with the pan flips. This one has ventilation and the USBs, so a little bit more than just the premium I hopped out of if you guys saw that video. Looks really good if you're being chauffeured in the back. I think you're gonna have a good time. I think you're gonna be comfortable, but if you want heated seats, you need a higher trim level than what this Sport offers. You, however, do get 2 cup holders, so if you're the only one riding back here, that's 2 extra drinks for you. If you have another passenger, like we have today, we're gonna have to share. Let's get around to the back, see what it looks like back there. We have the pin code button. If you haven't seen my video on how to set that, that allows you access to your vehicle without having the keys. I use it probably about once a week on my Outback. It's really cool. Check out my video on that. Otherwise, we're gonna lift it up with the one-touch lift. Something the premium we just got out of did not have. And then we have the all-weather Subaru mat back here. We have the Harman Kardon sub. We have some kind of like little lightweight tie downs for bags and stuff like that. We don't have the seat dropper like we would on a higher trim level, but we do have a little bit of storage behind the rear wheel well on that side. Hiding on here, we have some space, some storage for light items that aren't going to puncture through the styrofoam, like blankets, emergency kit, mail, junk mail, anything you want down there. And there's your spare temporary use tire, the eye bolt hole, all the tools you need. Subaru's got you covered back here. Going around to check on our passenger, make sure they're not hogging those cup holders. Door panel, fantastic. Safety is a high priority. And identical there, and it does have the red stitching if you didn't catch that, which is very nice. You do have the proximity lock and unlock feature. Sometimes though it takes a second, as you just saw. Door panel looks really good. Of course, Harman Kardon is advertised there. Sport mode is advertised there. Otherwise, you got the manual controls for sliding up front, recline in the back. Red stitching follows throughout. No embroidery or stamping on the headrest, but it looks good. Locking glove box. No 12 volts or anything in here, but you do have adequate space. And then you have more of that grayed dark trim, which just matches the theme of a sport mode Forester. All right, guys, let's pop the hood, see what's underneath. Under the hood, if you're not familiar with Subarus, you're probably gonna like what you see because it's well engineered, well designed, and thought through under here. You have the coolant reservoir, windshield washer reservoir, a top mount oil filter, which is a great design, 0 W20 oil fill cap right there, the battery, positive terminal, negative terminal, brake fluid reservoir. Otherwise, you have the ducting through the grille, through the air filter to the top of the engine. Up here is just an engine cover, reminding you that you're driving a Boxer, and keeps it looking good. Takes some of that heat out, the extraction feature right there. Alternator up top, dipstick to check it, and then this is one of the easiest serpentine belts on a vehicle that you can change. So Subaru, congrats, this is really good design. Drop the hood. And now guys, it's time to teleport inside and take it for a ride. Initial driving impressions of the Sport trim is that it is very identical to the other trim levels. A few characteristics separating it, of course, from the driver's perspective is the red stitching throughout is really appealing. It really contrasts the dark trim otherwise, and it just looks nice. I know it's not for everyone, but I am glad that Subaru does differentiate trim levels like that, and they just have a little bit of fun with it, with the color contrasting. Otherwise, if you haven't seen my other Forester driving impression videos, visibility is fantastic. At night, those LEDs do an incredible job. I'm sure they cast at least 50% more light than a non-LED model by another Subaru model or the competition, but thankfully all the Foresters are LED at this point for their safety rating. Comfort is really nice. The armrests feel pretty good on the door, on the center console. Having the physical buttons, the CD player, not too distracting of a screen that you're dependent for all features, like what the 11.6-inch touchscreen sometimes feels like in the Outbacks, the Ascents, the Legacy, some of those other ones. I do really appreciate that Subaru has kept the Forester trim as it is for this generation. Cup holders are low enough that I think most drinks would be out of the way. The shifter is right where it needs to be. You feel like you sit up fairly high in the Forester. It's not like a sedan where you're kind of sitting in it, but I feel like I'm almost sitting on top of it. If you can see how low the window lines are, and even the hood, how it just kind of waterfalls down. I feel like I have really good visibility. Having some of the extra options that this one carries, like the auto-dimming mirrors, the compass, the home link, those are really nice features if you can swing the few $100 that those demand. Of course, the moonroof is great. If it was just a little bit warmer out and we didn't have the road noise to deal with, I'd have that open. Otherwise, road noise really isn't that bad in this, especially with the really nice Harman Kardon speakers. It drowns out a lot of that stuff. It is one of the speaker setups that sometimes you might not want to get out of it until your song's finished playing. But that's of course the option. I think what does matter more if you get that package is having the reverse automatic braking. I think that is a really nice feature, because if it saves you from one accident, not just your deductible, but the inconvenience of waiting in a repair shop these days for how long some things are taking to be rebuilt, might be worth your time and the money just to have that precaution. Let's do a little bit of an acceleration before we get to our private road. I'm in Sport Sharp right now. You can see sometimes it fluctuates through the fake gears, and then you'll see what it does on our 0 to 60. So let's get to that. 0 to 60, we are in Sport Sharp. Traction controls off. I'll brake rev the CVT, and then density altitude's 2,800 feet right now, so the vehicle's down on power about 10%. I'll verbalize the true 0 to 60, and then I'll show you the bottom left of the graph will be without the foot of rollout. That's the way it would be rated by the magazine doing the identical test. Let's see what it can do. Holding RPM like it should, and true, 0 to 60 was 9.63. Not too bad given the circumstances. Let's get to our final thoughts. Final thoughts of the 23 Forester Sport is at about 35 grand. It offers a lot of good features. It's quite loaded with the LED lights up top, the LED fog lights and interior lights, the blackout package, the red accents. It is a good looking vehicle. It's safe, it's economical, it's very capable and confidence inspiring with its ground clearance and its turning radius. It just does a lot of stuff really well for many consumers. If you're interested in this, remember the links below. But if you like my content, my style of videos, or if you want to check out some of my other videos, there's plenty of 2023s already out there. Consider liking, commenting, and subscribing to show your support. And until next time, guys, I hope you take care.